Shalom Aleichem, everyone. We're continuing Hachzeg's learning of the Pele Yoetz, day number 187, continuing in this very long chapter, which is enriching us in how to use our speech the proper way, the chapter of Dibur. And he writes like this: Aser ledaber bebeis hakneses, you're not allowed to talk inside of a shul, ubefrat b'shas hatfila, especially during the time that davening is taking place, and when they are laning from the Sefer Torah. So too, you're not allowed to speak when you're listening to Kiddush being said Friday night, Shabbos morning, Yom Tiv, when someone's reciting Havdalah, Megillah, when we're going to get to Megillah's Esther very soon on Purim, so too when the shots, when the Shaliach Sibor is doing the repetition of the Shmon Esrei, you cannot talk. Any bracha that you are going to fulfill that blessing by listening to it, you're not allowed to talk when you are listening to that bracha. Ubein geula letfila, so too, from Gaal Yisrael to when you start Shmon Esrei, ubein birkas hameitzi la'achila, so too, when you make hameitzi lechem in arts till the time that you eat, you cannot speak. Kaidem sheyitam, until you taste. Ubein netila la'achila, so too, when you wash your hands al netilas yadayim and you're going to then eat, you also have to not speak. Ubein mayim achronim lebirchas hamazon, so too he writes, once you wash your hands from mayim achronim, the waters at the end of the meal before you bench, so too you should not speak between washing your hands and benching birchas hamazon. You're not allowed to speak between the putting on of the tefillin of your hand and the tefillin of your head. Even to answer Kaddish or Kedusha, even there you cannot speak. So these are serious endeavors, says the Pele Yoetz, that many people are very lax in all of the time, and therefore a person has to be careful to make sure they don't speak during this. Also, the dabri manashim. And he gives some very scathing mussar over here. It's also prohibited to speak with women. Especially words of joking words, vihita, laughter, and these type of things, light conversation, v'kalus roish, and levity, because these are the things that bring a person to erva, to end up sinning with them, Rahman al-Islam. Even to ask about a woman's welfare through her husband, Asr, even that is Asr, says the Pele Yoetz, and we don't ask about a woman at all. You don't ask her husband, you don't ask her sister, you don't ask, you stay apart and you keep a separation. Kachu dina the Gemara, this is the din of the Gemara, V'shulchan Aruch, and in the Shulchan Aruch, Loimidas Chasidus. This is not an act of piety. This is not an act of tzidkus, of righteousness. This is black and white, says the Pele Yoetz. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants us to protect ourselves from falling into sin and making a mistake, and therefore, as much as you can avoid talking to nashim, to women, a person should avoid that with the best that he possibly can. Otherwise, chalila, things get very comfortable, and a person can end up making very big mistakes. Also, don't open your mouth to the Satan. What does that mean? Even if there is a sharp sword on your neck, ready to slice off your head, Rahman al-Islam. The person is on his deathbed, and it looks pretty hopeless. Do not despair from Hashem's mercy. Speak good, and good will come. You say, Rebbeinu Shalom, I know that everything's going to be okay. Everything will be okay. HaKadosh Baruch, I know you can save me right now. Come on, Hashem, you can do it. Hashem, and Yavoi Tov, good will come. There he's saying, don't despair, don't give up hope, and don't speak badly about the situation, because anything could change. And so too, you should not speak in the bathroom. Also, you cause bad to yourself. Also, you're not allowed to give peace, say Shalom Aleichem, to a bad person, to a wicked person. If you have no choice, because for the ways of peace, you have to say hello to this person Yechavin shenoisen shalom l'shem yizbarach. You should have in mind that when you say the words shalom, hi, how are you? You have in mind that you're really saying shalom to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar, like it says about Dovid HaMelech and a wicked person, a novel over there, V'amartam koi lechai. He said that for your amazing success, for your success in life. That's what he prefaced the conversation, for your success in life. V'yata shalom, and you are peace, meaning you, Hashem, are peace. He avoided saying shalom to the person that was a Rasha. Also, you're not allowed to speak words of strife that are going to incite things and the like. All the more so on an argument that has nothing to do with you. Unless you're trying to save the one who is oppressed from the tormentor, from the oppressor. If you're here to help, so then that would be okay. But otherwise, stay out of it. Also, you're not allowed to speak with arrogance. Vavuz, with shame, with like disdain. Oy bekas, or with anger. Your words should always be low voice and a lashon raka, a gentle voice, and it should be smoother than oil. Your palate should be sweet, and everything will be with delight, meaning all the words should be delightful. That's the way that a person should speak. Also, the lamed categoria al Yisrael. You're not allowed to learn faults, express the faults of Klal Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makpid ma'od al zeh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very makpid, very particular about this. Ki chafetz chesed hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu desires chesed. V'roitze shelo olam yilamdu sangoria al Yisrael. He really wants us to come to the defense of Klal Yisrael. The great Rabbi Yitzchak of Barditchev, that was his nature. He would never Chalila say anything bad about the Jewish people. Even if he would see something terrible in his eyes, he would always be able to put a spin on it to say the good that was there. He once was walking down the road and passing down the road, and he saw a wagon driver whose wheel had fallen off the wagon, and he was putting the wheel back on the wagon, and Rav Levi Yitzchak de Barditchev realized that the man was davening mincha while he was replacing the wheel on the wagon, which is something that a person should not do. When you're davening mincha, you're davening mincha. When you're changing the wheel on the wagon, you change the wheel. But to be involved with changing the wheel while you're davening mincha, how can you be standing in front of the king, the melech, malchim, malachim, while you're doing that? But instead of saying anything bad, he said, Ribbono shel olam, look at your yidden. Even while they're in the midst of changing the wheels on the wagon, they still daven mincha to you. And that's the way that a Jew should speak. Says and he writes further, V'advarim hanemarim lamata, whatever is said down here in this world, oisim pri lamal, it makes an effect above. Im latayv, if you spoke goodly, then you're gonna have good coming in the Shemaim. V'im lamutav, and if you spoke badly, Rachman al-Litzlan, bad could come from the Shemaim. Also, lidchai says chaveir b'dvarim, you're not allowed to push off your friend with words. And tell him, listen, this guy wants some money, he wants something from me. Listen, now's not a good time. Come back tomorrow. I'll take care of it tomorrow. When you have no intention at all to give the next day. Rather, truth should be what shines the light, which guides you and directs you on the way. So if you're not going to give, then don't give. And don't say to come back tomorrow and push him off. Also, Libdois as Yisrael, a person is not allowed to count the Jewish people. It brings an ayin hara on Klal Yisrael. You can't count 1, 2. No, we say not 1, not 2. Or we have psukim that we say that will let us know how many people are there. Also, you're not allowed to speak business on Shabbos. Even sicha b'tela, wasted, extraneous words. A person should not have a foolish, wasted word conversation on Shabbos. In the Gemara Yushalmi it says, even to say shalom, an extra word that you need to say on Shabbos, even that it was difficult for them to matter, to allow us to do, but we're allowed to. The Zohar says, Devarim b'telim, extraneous, nonsensical waste of words that a person speaks about on Shabbos. He could be using his mouth for tefillah, for Kiddusha, for Torah, for singing, for zmiros, for divrei Torah, all these wonderful things, and he's wasting it on Shabbos. Our speech on Shabbos is supposed to be different than the way that it is during the week, and therefore you're wasting it by sitting around shooting the breeze about nonsense. That says there's our chilul Shabbos. It's desecrating Shabbos. The kol davar also says b'Shabbos. Anything that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos, also the Safra Shiasa and the Machar, you cannot talk about it on Shabbos that I'm going to do it tomorrow. For example, you can't drive a car on Shabbos, so I can't say, well, tomorrow I'm going to get my driver's license. Or if you're heading off on a journey and you're going to be leaving Motzi Shabbos, you shouldn't be saying, I'm leaving Motzi Shabbos for my trip. You have to say it another way without mentioning the fact that you're going to be flying on a plane while it's Shabbos. Meaning, while it's Shabbos, you shouldn't mention that you're going to be flying on a plane. After Shabbos, of course. V'amir l'goy shus, and telling a non-Jew what to do is an issa d'Rabbanan, it's a rabbinical prohibition, and therefore you have to know the halachas very well to know what you could say and what you cannot say and tell the non-Jew to do for you or to do on Shabbos. All the best.